What is the dumbest rule at your job? We are not allowed to refer to the Xerox machine as Bob Marley anymore, even though it still jams way more than it Xeroxes. This is because apparently the CEO had tween daughter come one day and she got very upset when she thought the staff were keeping her from seeing Bob Marley in real life. She did not know that Bob Marley is dead. This made the CEO got stressed out and yell at us about the nickname. If a microwave and printer run at the same time, it trips a breaker that only property management can reset. So whenever anyone microwaves something, they have to yell microwave. So nobody prints. Well, today I got sent home for wearing the new uniform I was just issued and told to change back into the old one. I guess they haven't officially started the new uniform yet. The thing is, I'm the only security guard at an empty building with no one at it to even see me. All I did was trade a grey shirt for a white one. All the markings are the same. Seems pointless to me. If 2 snacks fall from the vending machine, we have to turn in the extra one or it's considered stealing company property. Had a manager follow me to the front desk to turn in some cookies last week. I work for a very superstitious Korean man. The rules are no red pens, no shaking your legs, and no whistling after the sun goes down. These aren't official rules. But he gets very serious about these things and doesn't allow joking about ghosts, the supernatural. Late edit. Guys, I am Korean. We have to know where all the fire extinguishers are. But we're not supposed to put out the fire. I'm a librarian. If somebody asks me where anything is, I have to redirect them to the front desk. No matter what. Example of how this is done. Asterisk. Where's the bathroom? Double quote. I'm pretty sure the front desk can help you with that. You can finish your work on time. You can log in and log out on time. No one cares. The ones who get praise are people who work late, and why do they work late? Because they can't finish the work on time. But it's fine. Bob is working late and taking up so much load for company. No. FCKU. Bob is working late because he can't fix a single line error for 4 f-king days. Women aren't allowed to lift anything. Literally anything. I was going to dump a trash can full of shredded paper in the dumpster last week and my boss caught me. Made me put the trash can down. And go find someone to dump it for me. I was literally lifting the thing with one hand. As my job requires a lot of lifting and I hate asking for help constantly. I have mastered the art of picking up 50+ lb boxes and running with them so no one catches me. I'm not allowed to contact mall security or the police without district manager approval. I could have been just robbed at gunpoint in my store. My first call is supposed to be my DM to tell them I got robbed and can I pretty please call the police? Double quote. Edit. There's been some speculation questions as to why this rule is in place. The store is a high-end retailer. So apparently it's because they don't want the negativity that is the police or mall security showing up being associated with the brand. Because of some new shits we got working who don't understand the concept of not using a phone when there is work to be done. Everyone has to put their cell phone in a bucket at 6 p.m. or whenever the evening rush starts. FCKU. Kerrigan. You cannot leave 250 miles of the area without getting your request to leave said area approved. And you have to take lots of online and in-person classes on how to be safe. Not to beat your wife. Not to drink and drive. And how to not be stressed out. And wear a reflective belt everywhere. I'm entrusted with the care of mentally handicapped clients. Including being trained in first aid, CPR, and the Heimlich maneuver. But apparently changing a light bulb or adjusting the thermostat in the group home where I work is too big a responsibility for me to be allowed to do. Edit. Where I work is not unionized. Since so many people seem to be commenting about unions. We're not technically allowed to talk about our salaries with each other even though the amount we each individually make is a matter of public record. That means that if you get a promotion, You have to either file a public records request to find out what your peers are making, and therefore piss off your new boss, or you have to violate the directive. It makes it pretty darn hard for an employee to negotiate. Edited to add content. I live in the US. I didn't know this was illegal. I just thought it was a dumb rule. Thanks for letting me know. The majority of people I work with have either been explicitly told we can't talk about it or implicitly discouraged. Last time I negotiated my salary, I was verbally reprimanded for having polled co-workers. I told the manager that in light of my work product I deserved to be paid at least a specific amount. When they asked my reasoning for the number, I told them the truth. Now that I know it's illegal, I'm livid. We weren't allowed to sit at my old job, even though our job didn't require us to walk or stand for any reason. We weren't allowed to sit because a worker in the past once pushed the chairs together and slept. In our small hospital department, there's an oxygen line W, a giant on-off valve that only affects our small department. If there's a fire, I can't turn the valve to close it. I have to call the nursing supervisor who is off-site to come down to the fire and turn it off for me. I am not familiar enough with the rules of my job to choose the dumbest one. But at my old job, if a customer purchased something, then made it to the door with merchandise he or she didn't pay for, the cashier that rang them up was held accountable for it. We can expense Starbucks, but not food from Starbucks, because one guy was living off of Starbucks food for 3 months. Worst part was that he was an extremely well-paid engineer, but frugal as fuck. Do not throw any personal items in company dumpsters or waste receptacles. All items to be discarded must be taken home. Our safety protocol states that if there is a fire and there are wheelchair-bound students or employees on the second floor, we are to leave them at the top of the stairs for the firefighters and emergency personnel to help once they arrive. Stroke. So, basically they get to burn to death. Supervisors aren't allowed to have any unnecessary contact with employees under them outside of work. This wouldn't be that idiocy if it weren't for the fact that the supervisors are just other teenagers that got conned into taking on a bunch more work for a 50 raise. Can't go anywhere unless we have another person to accompany us. Bathroom, store, etc. My dad is a flight nurse. He has a flight suit that he carries anything he could possibly need while transporting a patient. One day he came home all pissed off. I carry all kinds of needles and drugs that can paralyze someone, but they won't allow me to have my mooly tool on me because it has a knife blade over 3 inches long. Double quote. A long time ago I worked at a Navy shipyard. There were 2 rules re. First aid kits at each work site. The OSHA type part of the organization had a rule that each work site had to have a first aid kit. The org that ran the workman's comp stuff had a rule that first aid kits were prohibited at work sites. Any injury had to go to the industrial dispensary to establish a paper trail. Worksite supervisors were screwed if they had a first aid kit. They were screwed if they didn't have one. The shipyard commander, a 4-striper, called the heads of each organization into his conference room. He told them, when you two come to an agreement about first aid kits, call my office. I will have the Marine at the door let you out. I'm tired of hearing about f-king first aid kits. Double quote. No hoodies. Jeans and tennis shoes are okay, but hoodies is where they draw the line. Just seems silly for an office with almost no dress code to be adamant about their employees not wearing hoodies even if it's raining. Except on Friday. Friday hoodies are okay. When I was in the military, you weren't allowed to put your hands in your pockets. Sister is a cheerleader for a professional sports team. They aren't allowed to talk to any of the players at all. If they have any interactions with them, they are fired immediately. Sucks cause I really want my sister to have Kevin Durant's babies. My last manager, global company, tried to tell us that if she saw us at each other's desks discussing non-work related things, we had to keep track of those minutes and take them as vacation. She didn't last long. Not my current job, but at my old chain restaurant job we weren't allowed to give cups with bottles of soda. They had to purchase soft drink cups to have cups for their 2 liter and it was ridiculous. We're only allowed to use the bathroom in the employee break area. At least a good 3-minute walk from my workstation. Sometimes more if I'm a few floors up. I guess they're worried that a patron might be offended by pissing next to us? I don't know. I work in a small programming company. We haven't set up any kind of version control yet. So to avoid overwriting other people's changes to packages and scripts, we have an item associated with each file. If you want to edit a file, you need to go to the person with that item and ask if they're done editing the file. If yes, you take the item, so the next person has to ask you. Thing is, these items are just whatever we had in the office at the time. Chart package is associated with a foot-tall clay zombie gnome. Filter package is a pair of 3D glasses, which some people insist on wearing when editing that file. Those are the strangest too. We also have a few kinder egg toys and an empty bottle of Jack Daniels. 100% proofing policy for alcohol purchases. It's not really stupid, it is just more of a nuisance for customers, and customers aren't afraid to let you know how they feel about being carded. But it isn't the store's rules or fault. We only have a restaurant liquor license, so we are obligated to card every single person to basically cover our asses. I'm not required to be at work on Fridays. But if I want to go out of town on a Friday, I have to fill out a leave form and they will dock my pay. I'm salaried. I'm a web developer and every single part of the job can be done from home. However, we have to come into the office to work. I only have one meeting a week and it's just a conference call. Myself and my boss are the only 2 people in the office on the web team. The rest are in a city that's 2 states away. So it's not like I have to come into the office to collaborate with the team in person. Doesn't make sense. But I've only been there for a month, so I can't really question it yet. We aren't allowed to drink water. We are cashiers at a grocery store, and even on the summer's hottest days we are expected to go 3-4 hours without anything to drink. Now I'm a rebel. So I do it anyway because it's necessary for survival and shit, and most of my supervisors won't give me flack. But it's still there. And certain people will make a big deal of it. I teach 4th graders. We have a rule that we can only get 6 reams of paper to make copies per quarter, 9 weeks. I go through those in about 3 weeks and end up buying a shitty load of paper. Trust me, I try to make less copies. But for some things I can't. Then our principal says that we must ask kids to donate at least 1 ream each so that I have paper for the year. We can fund wars. But I can't get paper? WTF. If one other person has booked off any time, no one can book off time for that same day or days. The entire summer since the beginning of May, the 22nd of August has been fully booked off by only a few people. One guy was given a month and a half off. I was refused 3 days of vacation that I tried to book off 4 months in advance because of this. They don't want us wearing NPS work t-shirts. Instead they want us to wear the NPS work uniform shirts that are heavy and constricting. So when you're a laborer and you're bending over and picking shit up and needing to move freely so you can do your job effectively and comfortably, they don't really want us to wear the t-shirt for some reason. But we say FCK it and wear it anyways. Jack in the Box. From the time the car pulled up to the speaker at the drive-thru, we were supposed to get them done in under 4 minutes. Now this might not sound that bad, but customers would always take forever to figure out what the hell they wanted, even though we had a preview board, and they would order their longest cook time item last. I'll have 2 tacos, 30 seconds to make, and a spicy chicken sandwich. The patty had to be fried for 3 minutes. We also weren't allowed to park people. We broke that rule a few times though. Once for some asshole who ordered 100 tacos and 52 JR bacon cheeseburgers. Edit. Done as, and they had their food and were pulling out in under 4 minutes. I'd just like to add to the discussion that if anyone is having you work in unsafe conditions, it's your right to call OSHA and make an anonymous tip. OSHA will make a surprise visit to your place of work and assess if anything is dangerous. If the employer is in fact breaking the law, they'll be fined up the ass. You should never have to take a risk with your safety. Oh, that could save their life? Well, sorry, you can't do that until the ambulance that's 15 minutes away gets there. Oh, they got maybe 5 without your intervention? Too bad. Guess you better grab the Eid. Must call off 3 weeks in advance. Because I'll totally plan my life out past tomorrow. There was a hugging ban at my old job. Apparently one of the customers saw 2 employees hugging once and felt sexually harassed. I left that job pretty quickly after that. If you don't participate on after work pub on Fridays, then you will get a smaller raise. Participation accounts for 25% of our yearly raise. Managers and below get 2 monitors. Directors and above do not. I am a director and cannot for the life of me work out why the company holds a hard stance on this. When using pens, we're not supposed to use green ink. Since green is reserved for auditors. Auditors haven't been reviewing files manually in this company since inception. Everything is done and signed digitally. Signatures on contracts must not be black ink to distinguish them from photocopies. But all our copiers are color copiers. I don't get it. But neither inconvenience me enough to really bother. I prefer blue ink anyway. Used to work in a call center where there was a rule that no one could leave the grounds at lunchtime. This rule was completely ignored as the food available in local shops was much better than the company canteen. But the company started to crack down. First by reminding everyone by email and then by placing managers at the car park entrance to try and stop us leaving. People still ignored the rule. This isn't an official rule. But where I work, we are not allowed to wear red shirts. The boss is against people wearing red shirts. Especially during meetings. To the point where he has actually sent guys home for wearing a red shirt to a meeting. He's a good guy that we all respect. He just has this quirk. It sucks because my uni colors are red and white. And I have some nice polos that I can't wear to work. Your shift says that starts at X time. But you get written up as late if you don't clock in 15 minutes earlier than when your shift starts. People have been fired over showing up only 5 minutes early. Fireman here. We change batteries and install smoke alarms for elderly residents in our area on a regular basis. Once a year a contractor turns up to test the smoke alarms in the station. We are not allowed to do it. Despite it being hot, humid and unair conditioned most of the time, I'm not allowed to wear shorts at my job teaching little kids English. The female teachers can, but not the males. I'm barefoot, in jeans and a Power Rangers t-shirt. So it's not like this is a suit and tie affair. Just no shorts. It's miserable in the summer. I was fired for getting invited to speak at an industry conference. It's a prestigious thing. Most agencies want their employees to speak at conferences. But we had a silly PR policy that limited speaking engagements to certain people. Even though I had several speaking engagements prior to joining the company, which were listed on my resume, they weren't willing to budge. I told them I could just go on my own. They wouldn't have to pay and I wouldn't mention my employment with them while there. They said it didn't matter. So I decided I'd rather go to Las Vegas and speak at the conference than continue with them. Cutting gloves on both hands when you wash dishes. I understand why. But if you are not putting knives in the sink, you do not need to worry about it. No headphones. Work at a factory. Talk to no one 99% of the time. Helps me focus but FCK them. Teacher here. I'm not allowed to pee. I'm not allowed to post anything on social media that makes the school board angry. I'm not allowed to fail a kid. Even if they are rocking a 12% in my class. Mostly the pee thing. The driving force behind my A's in law school is the dream of having a job where I can pee when I need to. I work at a kinda small grocery store chain that's only found in a few states. And apparently company policy is that if you get punched or attacked, You're fired no matter what the situation was. Even if it was entirely unprovoked. I guess. So if I get clocked by a drunk, I work nights. The store in question is downtown. Pretty much equidistant from a lot of the big towny bars, then I guess that's it. I'd be okay with getting punched most days. The only person who is allowed to fix anything technical, like a jammed printer, is the tech support bloke from down the road. The only person in the office who is allowed to call tech support is the office manager. The reason this is dumb is that the office manager is literally the only person in the office who can't fix a jammed printer. We're supposed to book the cheap flights. Which means no directs and a wasted day in travel hops. Our hourly bill rate exceeds what we saved on the flight. So instead of making more money by getting me there and letting me work, we're saving money on the flight by sitting in the airport all day. No saying hi to the players. I'm a security guard for the Jays and I see these guys everyday dressed in normal people clothes just walking around waiting for their wives or something and I just wanna say good game or hi. But no, we will be fired. I have to go to a certification class to learn how to use a ladder. There are no ladders in my building.